He was a man of God, respected, loved, trusted without question. But behind the pulpit and beneath the holy robes, he hid a darkness only one woman dared to confront. She was his most loyal assistant until she uncovered a secret so devastating, it broke her faith and led her to commit the unthinkable. And when the truth finally came out, even the heavens fell silent. This is a true life story that will chill you to the bone, and perhaps make you question how well you know the people closest to you. In the heart of a vibrant city stood New Dawn Worship Center, a grand church known for its glowing choir, powerful sermons, and growing congregation. At the center of it all was Pastor Daniel Hayes, a man beloved by thousands. Charismatic, caring, and confident, he carried the voice of a man who knew his calling. But behind every great man is someone who keeps the engine running. For Pastor Daniel, it was his secretary, Sister Angela Brooks. Soft-spoken, sharp, and dutiful, Angela had worked with him for 5 years. She was always present, taking calls, preparing messages, organizing charity drives. The church knew her as loyal and God-fearing. But Angela harbored a secret. One so dark, it would undo everything the church had built. Angela wasn't always the quiet helper in the corner. 10 years earlier, she had been a vibrant youth leader in another ministry, full of dreams and fire. That is, until she met Pastor Daniel when he was still an associate preacher. Back then, he was rising fast, preaching powerfully, moving hearts, and charming people effortlessly. And he charmed her, too. He told her she was special. That God had a plan for them. That their connection was spiritual, divine. One night, after a late-night youth retreat, they crossed a line. She thought it was love. But weeks later, he stopped calling. When she confronted him, he denied everything. "You misread things," he said coldly. And then? She found out she was pregnant. Desperate, ashamed, and alone, she turned to the church. But the leaders told her to be quiet. "We can't let the enemy destroy the man of God," they said. She was sent away. Her child, a beautiful boy named Emmanuel, died at 6 months from a rare infection. The grief consumed her. The church covered it up. No one knew. And Pastor Daniel? He went on to become the senior pastor at New Dawn, celebrated and unchallenged. Angela disappeared until one day, 5 years ago, she walked into New Dawn as a new convert, head down, fake name, a different city. Pastor Daniel didn't recognize her. But she recognized him. And she remembered everything. Angela served faithfully, gaining Pastor Daniel's trust. She studied his schedule, his habits, and weaknesses. She watched how women flocked to him, how he flirted behind the pulpit, even as he preached purity. Then, a year before the climax of the story, Angela received news she had tested positive for HIV. The doctor's words echoed in her ears, "You might have had it for years. It's dormant, but active now." Something inside her snapped. Grief became rage. And rage turned into resolve. She would make him pay. Angela began dropping hints, inviting him to late-night meetings, brushing hands, giving looks. Pastor Daniel, once again, took the bait. And one night, it happened. She didn't tell him. Afterward, she cried. Not because she regretted it, but because it didn't take away her pain. But she knew what would. A few months later, Pastor Daniel began feeling weak. He lost weight. The once powerful voice grew hoarse. Tests were done. Confusion filled the air. Then came the diagnosis. HIV positive. His world crashed. He called Angela into his office one evening. He was crying. "I don't understand, how could this happen?" Angela looked at him and smiled. A cold, tired smile. "Do you remember a girl named Angela Owens? From Glory Temple? 10 years ago." His eyes widened. "That's me," she whispered. And then she handed him a picture of a baby boy. "This was your son. He died. Alone. Just like you left us." She stood, walked out, and never returned to the church again. The church was in chaos. Rumors swirled. The congregation split. Some tried to defend Pastor Daniel, others condemned him. Angela moved to a quiet coastal town. She joined a small clinic and began helping women who had been victims of spiritual and sexual abuse. She never told anyone her full story again. But every year on Emmanuel's birthday, she lit a candle. And in her heart, she whispered, "This is justice. And this is peace." This story isn't just about betrayal. It's about the unseen scars people carry. It's about how faith, when twisted by power, can break the very people it's meant to protect. Angela didn't want revenge. She wanted healing. But in a world that silenced her, pain became her only voice. If this story moved you, share, subscribe, like and follow, not because it's shocking, but because it's real. Somewhere out there, someone like Angela is still waiting to be heard. And maybe, just maybe, her story will save another from being silenced.